And we're live.
Hello and welcome to tonight's Getting Together. Today's topic is civil liberties and civic responsibility from the perspective of how can we use our rights to self-care to rebuild our community. This is our first time to do the live panel, so please bear with us. As you can see, we have Helen, Anita, Ola, and myself, Sonia. So I'm here to relay your questions and comments to the panel. So now I'm going to pass you to Helen.
That was brilliant, Sonia.
Thank you.
That was really good. Good evening. We thought we'd do something a little bit different tonight with a panel. We're not quite certain how it's going to go. So as Sonia said, bear with us. In light of that, I'd like to take us into an exercise straight away to help us to settle the energy, but also to set the tone of what it is we want to offer tonight, because tonight's about collaboration. So what I'd like you all to do is to begin, first of all, please, by closing your eyes, taking a moment to focus on your breathing and to breathe into your heart. As you do so, just allow your energy to settle. Feel the peace that comes from that heart connection. And think about the world at the moment. Some countries are in lockdown, some are coming out, some are confused, some are not. The energy is quite discombobulated. So as you focus on your breathing, I'd like you to say gently to yourself, we are together, we are one, we are at one, and all is well. And we'll do it again twice more. We are together, we are one, we are at one, and all is well. We are together, we are one, we are at one, and all is well. And the energy settles almost immediately, doesn't it? When we all come together with a joint purpose. So I'm going to pass it over to Anita now, because I think she's got something that she would like to contribute.
So we were thinking about the principles of self-care, and what came to mind for me was the principle the airlines adopt when it comes to safety measures and their instructions to us. And they're always asking us to put on our own oxygen masks first before we assist anyone else. This was a principle that I like. It enables more people to be able to take care of themselves and more people to be available to assist others. And it also takes the strain off the bigger picture of the airline staff who are there to look after everyone. So it was just a principle that something I thought of with regards to self-care. I'm not sure if
Well, that was interesting. There we were, all ready to hold this panel meeting. And as we said, we were new, we weren't certain, and suddenly the video disappeared. So we've cancelled the process for tonight rather than keep everybody waiting. However, I think it's still an important topic. My feeling is that the energy is not quite right yet, and that's why it didn't work. I'm a great believer in go with the energies. So let's see who we've got here at the moment. We've got Anita, Elaine, Clara, Juliet, Caroline, Sonia, Surupa, Olive, Mandy, Marianne. So hi to all of you. It's going to be interesting to see what it looks like on Facebook when we've done it all. But the whole point is to talk about how we can bridge what's happening at the moment, because there are people who are demanding their rights to civil liberties, and they've got a point. And there are people who are claiming civic responsibility, and they've got a point. And basically what we were hoping to present tonight was the way to bridge that, because as Anita was saying, with the airlines and the oxygen masks, we need to take care of ourselves and our own needs and not suppress them in order to be of benefit to other people. How do we do that? How do we take care of who we are and still use that to rebuild? Because that's what's happening. We've been in lockdown, as you know. We've been in level 3. Tonight they announced that we're going into level 2.5, which means that we can move about again, but groups are still restricted to maximum of 10. And one of the anxieties that I've heard expressed is that people don't know when they go out how they're supposed to act with each other. Do they give each other a hug? Do they still do a handshake? Do they smile? What comments do any of you have about what Anita was saying about the face masks and what I'm saying about coming together and talking to each other? Any thoughts, any ideas, any suggestions? We've got Amanda, Cynthia, Karen, Pia. I'm sure you've all got some thoughts and ideas as to how we can begin to navigate a time that's not certain yet, because if it doesn't work, we're going to go backwards. So how can we make it positive and how can we make it fun? Any comments? I'll just sit here and twiddle my thumbs. No, I won't, but I'll wait. I can't see any. Let me find. This is really interesting, what's happening here. Because now I can't get my computer to flow either. Wow. Let me try and get, no? I wonder if we're not ready to have this kind of meeting. I wonder if that's what's happening, that we're not supposed to look at this yet because there's other things we need to look at first. Trouble is, I'm going to have to try and use my phone to see if I can find where we're meeting on here and see if any of you are talking to me. It's really interesting situation. Nope, I can't even see it on my phone. So what I'm going to do, some of you are part of a WhatsApp group that I'm in. How about you send me in the action group what you're thinking, and I'll use it from that until I can get my computer working. Okay, Sonia sent me a photo. Thank you, Sonia. That's a good idea. I can't see the one bit of panic of surviving, not thriving. But Amanda says, I feel that people are confused about what's happening. And I think you're right, Amanda. Certainly, Haresh, a nice smile or a wave would be good. There's a lot of anxiety. So yeah, we could give a smile. We could, what else could we do? Could we speak, or do we have to be silent? Is it not possible to talk to people? Or is that part of it? Do we not know how to talk to people now? Because that's the interesting one. Yeah, I think you're right, Amanda. The energy does seem confused. I think possibly the social anxiety needs to come first. And what is the social anxiety? It's kind of like, do I go left or right? And what do I do and how do I do it? We don't know. So how do we get around it? Some people feel awkward about how to interact with each other anyway. So perhaps for the first time, we might have a bit of sensitivity about that, about how that's working. Perhaps have a bit more compassion for people that aren't at ease in company with other people. Now, for the first time, we know how they feel. Bronwyn says, yes, chat. Though people are nervous about the distance, yes, they are. Elaine says there's a lot of concern about what the new normal will be. I keep hearing that a lot, as I'm sure you all do. We're going into the new normal. For us, the new normal is that we can travel. The shops will open again. We can all go to work if we want. We can all go to school if we want. But as I say, we can't have more than 10 people come together. It's a step that's not dropping us fully into the deep end. And we all want it to be different to how it was. Have we actually stopped to consider what that difference might look like? It's easy to say, I don't want this. What do we want? What might, in taking care of our needs, what's important to us, what we want, how might that be the basis for us all to come together in a much better sense of responsibility for ourselves, for each other, and for the planet? Because I think that's important. Juliet says taking personal responsibility and also sharing, giving, offering, asking, where we can assist to maintain that. I think you're right, but I think we've got to be careful, Juliet, because I think if we do that immediately, and disagree with me if you want to, all of you, my personal feeling is that if we do that too soon, we might come across as too strong. Caroline says, a great idea for looking after our own well-being and sharing our balance with those who perhaps are not at ease. Very true. The more we appear to be at ease, the easier it becomes for other people. If we smile, if we appear to be relaxed, it helps others. Self-care, what does it mean? What's it all about? Why is it important for us to take care of ourselves? It's important because it's not about being pampered. It's not about having everything we want. Self-care is about being at peace at the heart of who we are. Taking the time to align ourselves on all levels of our being. Feeling at ease emotionally, mentally, and above all, spiritually. So when we're in that space, even if we don't say anything, we share that energy with everybody around us. That's really important. Pia says, definitely still need the masks and speak and greet, but keep the social distancing. Now, you see, that's interesting, Pia, because here they don't recommend masks. And the reason they don't recommend masks is because it's not a clear outcome. Apparently, it depends which expert you speak to as to whether masks are a good thing. They have been saying that surgical masks, for example, need to be changed 3 times every hour to have any benefit whatsoever. Now, somebody else is going to say, well, you can put your mask on and you can wear it all day and everything's fine. So it's not conclusive. So some people will wear masks and that's fine, and some people won't, and that's fine too. In self-care, if you feel happier wearing a mask, then I guess that's what you do. That's how you take care of you. And in doing so, you feel you're contributing to the community. Marianne says connecting without hugging, using our words, having fun communicating from a distance. True. And yes, Ola, I think people who haven't experienced anxiety before may not know how to talk about it. If you've always been confident about how you interact with people, it can be quite confronting to suddenly not be certain what's appropriate or what's not. And in that situation, what happens then? Where does it go? Where do we go? How do we go? Elaine says, simply continue being the kind of kindness that's been shown to us by everyone else. That's true. Orla says, oh no, we've talked about that. Clara's saying choosing not to focus on limitation, but rather maintain her life as normal, which is important, yes, with awareness of other people and how that impacts other people, not from a limitation perspective, but if we don't have awareness of how who we are impacts others, we may be doing more harm than good without in the least intending to do so. Sarupa seems to think that people aren't ready because there's a lot of guilt that we haven't explored or moved beyond. What guilt? That's an interesting comment. What guilt? If you're talking about guilt because we've allowed the planet to get into the state it's in, some people feel that, some people don't. A lot of people feel guilty because they can't be with their loved ones, or someone's passed away during this time and they haven't been able to say goodbye. They don't feel that they've treated them respectfully, and it's not their fault. There's grief over separation even without death. And the biggest loss is the fact that we're social creatures and that connection to each other's gone. I don't really want to get into guilt in getting together, because I want to try to suggest that we need to look at this from the perspective of how can we do it in a more light-hearted manner, so that as we take care of ourselves and we share that with others, we encourage that same light-heartedness, not so that it becomes comedy club, but just a little bit lighter than falling into the heaviness of, well, we've done this and we've done that. I don't think mea culpa is going to help us, and I don't for 1 minute suggest that that's what Sarupa's saying, because she's not. Yes, there is that there. I think it would be better to start to look at how we can go forward with inspiration and aspiration. So what are we aspiring to as we move through this? What's some of the best ways? Clara's saying no hugs, but can use our feet to say hello to each other. Well, I can probably guarantee that the first time I stick my foot out to say hello to somebody, I'll probably fall flat on my bum. Or I might do it so quickly that I clip their ankle. But you know what, if it's a friend, we'll have a laugh about it. It's a good idea. Light-hearted, acknowledge our awkwardness. Yeah, I don't quite know. Do you want me to give you a hug? Do you want me to blow kisses? How are we going to proceed? Have a giggle about it. If everyone is going to be asked to wear masks, that brings down anxiety, Haresh says. No, it doesn't. If we've been told that masks aren't safe, it's going to increase our anxiety. So I don't think we can make a unilateral, it has to be this way, because we're dealing with different cultures, different levels of experience of this pandemic, and everybody has their own version of what they believe is important for them. It's finding a way to accept that we're all one, but we may not all act in one way. And let's make it as easy as possible. Numbers here are good, so people are getting a bit relaxed. And I think as that happens, you're right, Haresh, as it happens globally, it's going to make a difference. And I think Amanda's right too. It's a little bit cynical, but I think you're right. Some people liked the way things changed during lockdown. The fact that we could stop and draw breath, that we weren't dashing here, there and everywhere, you know, going to work, taking the kids to sports, having to do the groceries, an endless list of to-dos. And so it gave people time to catch their breath. Have we used that time to look at how we want it to be going forward? Now that we can start to think about rebuilding, we're not rebuilding yet, but to think about it. What are we thinking about? What do we want to build? Do we want to create exactly what we had before? I don't. I definitely don't. So how would we go about that so that we build a community that's caring, that's still able to be successful and achieve what it wants to achieve, but it does it collaboratively and not competitively from the perspective of I win, you must lose. Why can't we look for ways to rebuild so that we all win? Okay. Yes, I think you're right. The difference is us. And yes, Clara, smaller group gatherings are more intimate. We have an opportunity to talk to each other. And I think that's one of the biggest things. I think life got so busy that we started to talk to each other in shorthand. We did that when we were texting. I mean, the people that used to write to me and put the letter U instead of writing you, sometimes I'd sit and I'd scratch my head. What exactly is that word supposed to be? Because it's a different generation for me. I'm still catching up with all this. But talking to people, talking to each other, having conversations that are beyond surface, where we get to know each other. There's a very good saying that you don't know someone until you've walked a mile in their shoes. If you've never asked them how their shoes fit or what ground they've covered, you can't know what's brought them to be the person they are now. So I think perhaps one of the first things before we can start to rebuild is to get to know each other. Yes, it is about going into the unknown, and that's scary, and we're not talking about it too clearly yet, but hopefully from this we will. Sarupa, self-care has become synonymous with pampering. Yeah, it has, and I don't think it is. So we need to start looking within us. What do we actually want? Do we know what we want? Have we maintained that connection to ourselves, or did we somehow park that on a shelf somewhere to deal with later? Tanita says, something that self-care is something that empowers an individual without diminishing or being at the cost of another. Yeah. Focus on the positive and the creative. Olive says, if we haven't decided how we want the new normal to be, we're not giving ourselves our best chance. Spending time on that would help us create a better future. Keeping notes on it so as it moves along, we have a full picture of our place within it. I think it's brilliant. I think that's a great idea. Why don't we start thinking about that this coming week? And we'll meet again next week. I don't know what's going to happen, if we're going to end up having the same thing that happened last Monday, or if we're going to be doing it this way, but we will keep persevering to see if we can work out what happened. But I'm just going to call a halt at this point and ask you all to think about what your new normal is. What do you want your new normal to look like? And during the week, send put some posts on the Getting Together page of your ideas, and we'll start to put them together. And perhaps if we can get this panel thing going again, we can have a chat about it. If not, what I'm thinking is that we do a Zoom meeting. I don't know the limit to the numbers, but at this stage, I think it's 25. If you want to join us in a Zoom meeting, we can post onto Facebook afterwards. So pop me a post and let me know what you think about it, or email me and let me know what you think about it. And let's see what we can do. At this stage, I'm a bit stuck because I've got no idea, since I don't have anything happening on my computer, how the dickens I'm going to end this live. So I'm just going to say good night and thank you very much, and hope you will all disconnect. And then I'm just going to shut my computer and hope that fixes it. And we'll see what happens next time. Thank you for being here, and see you next time.